Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? Well, with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills. Wait, did I say job title yet? Get started today and see how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Paige DeSorbo, the co-host of Giggly Squad. I have exciting news. McDonald's has all new McCrispy strips. It's chicken made for dipping. Tender, juicy white meat chicken with a golden brown, peppery breading. It's chicken so good it deserves its own sauce. The creamy chili McCrispy strip dip, a sauce that's creamy, savory, and sweet with a little heat. But it works with any of our sauces. I'm personally a barbecue sauce girl. Even sometimes I like ketchup. I'm just like basic sometimes. But I also need it in addition to any new sauces I'm trying. With a new creamy chili McCrispy strip dip, it's chicken made for dipping, only at McDonald's.
Ever wonder what your lashes are destined for? The cards have spoken. Maybelline New York Mascara does it all. Whether you crave fully fan lashes with Lash Sensational, big, bold volume from the Colossal, a dramatic lift with Falsies Lash Lift, or natural-looking volume from Great Lash, your perfect lash future awaits. Manifest your best mascara today. Shop Maybelline New York and discover your lash destiny. Shop now at Walmart.
Yo, it's the Coach Uncut podcast, man. It's your boy Tre Pound, the moisturizer, back with another morning cup with Trey, kicking it with my dog, Big Squirtle, man, aka Big Squirt. And we back at it. And I want to tap in, it's post-Thanksgiving vibes, check in with the people. And first and foremost, I am beyond grateful, thankful for everybody who's support me in any aspect of my life, man. I appreciate you guys, and I want to start off by saying thank you for all the love and support. And before I jump into it, man, I want to go ahead and give myself my flowers, man. Thanksgiving, I put on one crazy spread, man. I made some herb roasted turkey. I made a compound butter, put it on the turkey, and I cut up some like celery, carrots, onions, made a mirepoix, stuffed it with that, put some aromatics in there, some oranges, some lemons, and then I roasted it off. And then follow that, I made some herb crusted rack of lamb. I can't whistle, but man, if I could, man, that's how good the rack of lamb was, man. I made some rack of lamb, some Brazilian salmon, some vegan mac and cheese, some candied yams, some cornbread stuffing or dressing, whatever you want to call it. We're going to call it, in the culture, we call it dressing. So I made some cornbread dressing. I also made some roasted vegetables. And then I made some blueberry cheesecake and some pecan pie. Woo! Man, creme de la creme, man. Hats off to the chef, man. I want to give myself my flowers on that one. I put my foot in it, at least what the family say. They all loved it. They all enjoyed it. And I hope your Thanksgiving was great as well. But, so that's what I want to talk about. Flowers, being able to give people flowers and also being able to receive flowers is the message I kind of want to get off today. And, I felt like it was one of the messages from God, man. That's why I'm rocking the God sent hoodie, man. So first and foremost, Culture Uncut Podcast is powered by T-Cup Podcast. That's TCUPODCAST.com. T-Cup Podcast. Go there and you can find all of our coffee, all of our merch, all of our art. And speaking of coffee, man, I'm sipping on that Tre Sitso, which is a 6-bean espresso. And, I blended it up, boiled it to perfection. I don't want to say boil, but, you got to bring the water to a boil before you roast your coffee, man. And then I put some of that oatmeal caramel creamer in it, and that did it. I didn't need to add no sugar or anything else because I didn't really want it sweet, but it was flavorful. If you never tried our coffee, all of our coffee, like I said, all of our tea, everything is on Teacup Podcast, man. Give us a shout, support your people, man. Yeah, so back at it, man. Back to the message at hand, giving flowers. And this message came up twice when I was, throughout my week. And that's how I usually like to figure out what I'm going to talk about. If it comes up more than one time, I figure, maybe it's meant for me to speak on it. But my boy had hit me up, man. A couple people hit me up, man. Shout out to Tre. Shout out to Cynthia. Shout out to Marsha. Man, shout out to everybody who hit me up and gave me some words of encouragement about the content. It was, heartfelt messages, man, and it was received, man. You almost made a real ninja cry. So I appreciate you guys for hitting me up and telling me that you really enjoyed the message. It's authentic, it's real, it's from the heart, and, it's not scripted. You can tell that, I put my heart into it, man, and I really do. And I thank y'all, man. Like I said, it felt good, when people call you up and give you your flowers and some accolades. But Tre was telling me when we was talking, he was like, man, what's great about your message is like, for so long, therapy has been taboo in the culture, and me personally, I don't think it's taboo. I think, that narrative is kind of changing, but I'm going to have Dr. Joi Britt come on and from Joi Social Work Podcast. She's going to let us know, where I stand with that one, if I'm right or if I'm wrong. But he was saying that therapy is so taboo in the culture nowadays. And, back then it was frowned upon when you go to therapy. You will be looked at as being weak or whatnot. And it was applaud me for, put myself out there, put my journey out there and let people know, steps to take to get better if they're going through similar instances in their lives. And it will receive. So I appreciate that, Tre, Marsha, man, Tiara, everybody who hit me up and applaud me and encouraged me to keep going on with the message. But it came up again in therapy. So in therapy, I was sitting down with my therapist and we was talking, and she was giving me my flowers, man. She was telling me about, how amazing it has been on this journey as far as like me achieving like my short-term goals and whatnot, and then when she was telling me that and giving me my flowers, and I just started like talking about, man, I wish I could have done it this way, or I should be here around this time. And she had to stop me. She was like, yo, chill. It's okay to give yourself a pat on the back, man. Just, you did that, accept your flowers and embrace it, And then following that, she asked me, she said, have you ever heard of imposter syndrome? I ain't never heard of no imposter syndrome. I ain't never heard of nothing like that. Now, I don't know anything about it. But I know Tiara had brought it up too in one of the comments. And she said that's something that she struggled with. And if you don't know what imposter syndrome is, pretty much like feeling like you don't deserve the success or the achievements, even though like you put in all the work to get to where you at. You have all the skills to back up, everything that you can do. Still feeling like you don't deserve it. I don't know if that's something I struggle with. She was saying that that's something that she struggled with, but it's definitely something to think about, and it's definitely something that's in our culture just from listening to different like podcasts and different like therapists talk about it. Also, if you want to know more about it, there's a really good, shout out to D1, man. He made a really good song called Imposter Syndrome, which is a solid track. So if you have never heard it, it's a banger, man. It'll kind of like put you on the game of what it is and how he kind of struggled with it as well. But I'll give you my real ninja advice, Tiara, on what, I think about, your situation with imposter syndrome. And like I said, I'm going to bring on Dr. Joi Britt from Joi Social Work Podcast, and she can come on and tell us what it really is. But from my real ninja advice, whenever you like in a moment where you're like questioning yourself or like, should do I deserve this or should I be here? I think my gut instinct is to ask yourself, the question that you need to ask yourself is why not you? Why not you? Why not Tiara? Why not John, Jane, Doe, whoever, man? Why not you? Why not Tre? You put in all the work, you deserve, your flowers. You put in the work, you sacrifice all that time to get where you at, Why not you? You belong. You deserve a seat at the table, So lean in on everything that you've been trained to do. Lean in on everything that you've been educated to do. And then lean in also like on all the times, rehearse it through your mind, like all the energy you put into getting to where you at in your life. And then, own the moment, man. Boost that confidence. Hold your head up high and know that you deserve to be in that room, whatever room you in. You know what I'm saying? You deserve to be there. So that's my real ninja advice when it comes to imposter syndrome. But speaking of the holidays are here. And I was telling you about the nice spread I put out and whatnot, but it got me thinking about, I saw a lot of food on the timeline. So I want to ask y'all guys 2 questions, like for Thanksgiving and the holiday. For Thanksgiving, like, would you rather have dry mac or dry turkey? I've seen a lot of dry mac and dry turkey on the timeline. So if you had to, bite the bullet and pick one of them, which one would it be? And also, since Christmas or the holidays is steadily, it's going to be here probably tomorrow, how fast these days going, but the holidays is coming up. What's one dish that, you just can't, like, you just don't want them to put it on your table, man? You might start like a next war. They put it out on the table. For Thanksgiving, gotta be the canned cranberry, man. Don't you come to my house and pop open a can and put it on the table, man, and think that we're gonna eat it, man. I'll call the police, bro. I'll call the feds on you. I'll put out a doggone report and let them know, like, hey, it's about to be an assault. Get down here now, man. You pop up a can and put that canned cranberry on my table. So for Thanksgiving, no canned cranberry. I know y'all love it, y'all like it. But you keep that in your refrigerator, and then you take the dressing back to your house and you put that mess on your food there. And then for Christmas, I would say that fruit cake, man. Don't be opening up that plastic and peeling out that plastic and putting that doggone fruit cake on a platter, dog. Like, come on, bro. Like, somebody told me something one time. I was out of line. You know what I'm saying? And somebody said. They told me these words and they stuck with me. I'm going to tell you the same thing before you open that plastic up, a fruitcake, and put it on these people's table. Do better. You know what I'm saying? Do better. I'm not judging you. That's all I'm going to say. Just do better, man. It's a whole lot of recipes out there. They got so many doggone resources and websites that you can get on and finesse something. So, yeah, do better. Don't put no doggone fruitcake on nobody's platter. But, man. Those are the 2, man. Those are the 2 things that I really want to address. And back to giving flowers. Like I said, I'm going to have Dr. Joi coming on. She's going to give you some professional advice. And we also going to go teeter the lines of, giving flowers as well as receiving flowers. But I'm trying to think if I touched on everything I want to touch on, no Diddy, pause, and all of that stuff. But, yeah, I think that's about it, man. Time for me to go ahead and bring on Dr. Joi, man. I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Time to bring on the doc to make things talk, man. Stand by to stand by. Tre out.
Living in depression, all that stressing when you searching for acceptance, but no one listened. I was lost inside that mission till I got visions. Now we up, I'm rejuvenated, so rejuvenated. Still the best to ever do it, baby, who the babe? We the ones that came for nothing and accumulating. I could lose it all tomorrow, but it won't break me. Devil knocking at the door, but he can't take me. I can give you all the game, but it still ain't me. Take it all, I don't need it, how I feel lately. All I need is God's will and it's all safe. 3, 2, 1.
All right, so we're here. You don't have my real ninja advice. So like I told you guys, I was going to bring on a professional, man. Shout out to Dr. Joi Britt from Joy of Social Work podcast, man. Friend of the show, friend of a friend, man. We met through mutual friends, Randy O. Shout out to Randy O for introducing us. And, ever since we met, she's always been like a bundle of joy, someone that I can lean on for advice. So, first and foremost, man, happy Thanksgiving, post-holidays. How's everything going?
Pretty good. Thank you for having me. My Thanksgiving was pretty good. How was yours?
It was good. I'm tired. I ain't gonna lie. It was one of them ones where I was just up to like 4 a.m. cooking and slaving, and food got done late, and I was just like, gosh, man. How was yours? So you do the cooking, or
I do not aspire to ever have to cook Thanksgiving dinner. But I went to, they're like family friends. I've known them for basically all my life, and they moved from New York to Georgia too. So I went over there and hung out with them for Thanksgiving.
Okay, how's the spread? How's the food?
It was good. The food was good. No complaints.
No complaints. Okay. All right. I gotta ask. We had comments came up, so they wanted me to ask you, would you rather have dry turkey or dry mac and cheese?
Ooh, I would rather have dry turkey because then I wouldn't eat it. If you mess up the mac and cheese, then I feel like the meal is ruined. I'm here for the pie. I'm not here for.
I hear that, because even with like, if you had the dry turkey, you still got like gravy and stuff. Like you can probably like
between something, put it in a sandwich or something. Dry mac is sad.
Yeah, you can't mess up the mac and cheese in the black home. I feel that. The other question: what's one dish that they can't just put on the table though?
Like that it's not a good dish, or like that it's gonna go fast?
Like it's not good. Like you put it out, then it might start a fight somewhere.
I have seen not great. I've seen bad macaroni and cheese. I've seen bad like stuffing. That when that happens, then people get really angry, and then it just kind of changes the whole dynamics of the night.
It does.
I think if you are not, think you shouldn't try new recipes. Stick with what you know. When people are like, I want to be experimental, don't do that today. You try maybe so yeah.
You better pull out them slave recipes. It's not the day the dog gonna be experimenting, figuring out what you don't saw on Pinterest. Right. I say for me, I know I said the canned cranberry. I don't like the canned cranberry.
You like
and
it?
Then, yeah, ever since I got introduced to the fresh cranberry sauce, I like the fresh cranberry sauce.
You don't gotta live like that no more.
No, somebody told me, be better, man, be better. Ever since then, I try to step my game up. But that and chitlins, man.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I'm calling the fire department and the police. You pull out some chitlins.
Yeah, because why is this even here? Why did you add this to the menu?
So I want to talk about, there's a couple things that I want to talk about, but the message of the show is, being able to give flowers and being able to receive flowers. Do you think that is something like, from your experience, something just like, in these days, it just seemed like it's such a troll like type environment or society. It don't seem like you see a lot of people applauding people for like the good, how do you feel about, I guess, giving flowers and receiving flowers?
Yeah, I agree. I think there's so much, like I love social media in a way that it can connect people and keep people connected. But you're right, there's so many people who are so negative and who just always have something to say, and it's like unnecessary. I guess I would say in like my friend group, I feel like it's easier to do that, to acknowledge people and say like, hey, I see you doing this. Like I have a friend, for example, who just had a baby, and it's like, I know you were not sleeping, but you go, girl, like whatever it is, or like somebody will send her money for food or something like that. So really trying to think about it. But I think on a larger scale, sometimes you just see people doing it and it's like, oh, that's cool. And you don't say anything. And sometimes I have to remind myself, stop and take a pause and say that's dope, or that's cool, or congratulations. Because people like to hear that stuff, whether they need it or not. It feels good for somebody to acknowledge you're doing something.
Mm-hmm. And it was it just came up multiple times for me. I noticed when I was going through therapy, it was like a behavior that she picked up on, that when she was giving me my flowers, I would I would just instantly start thinking about, oh man, I wish I would have done it that way, or I wish I should be here at this point. I was trying to pinpoint where that stemmed from, And, I don't know if it's like something that's like, from what I was saying when I was reading up on imposter syndrome, they was saying that it's definitely like embedded in our culture. And I don't know if it's from people not telling you, giving you a good job as you were growing up or whatnot. But can you speak from your personal professional advice on like, where will that stem from in the culture as far as people who dealing with imposter syndrome?
Yeah. I mean, I think like on a small level in our homes, like a lot of us grew up in homes where it's like, I got a B. Well, why didn't you get an A? That was always like, you could have done better. And because you didn't do better, a lot of parents highlight that. And so then you become the child that's like, I have to be a perfectionist because it's not good enough. And then you never feel good enough. And so then when you're like given like a new challenge or like it's a new job or whatever, and it's like, wait, I don't know if I can do it because you just kind of have that negative thought in your head. We tend to believe the things that we've heard so many times, and then our parents' voices or other people in our lives' voices then become our own. And then it's like, well, I can't do that, or I'm not going to be good at that, or I'm really scared to try that, so I'm not even going to do it. And a lot of times people get stuck because that fear of like, I'm not good enough really can get in the way. So what I like to tell people to do is, track your wins. Like, and a win doesn't have to be like, I got $1 million today. A win can be like,
Brace the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started today at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Paige DeSorbo, the co-host of Giggly Squad. I have exciting news. McDonald's has all new McCrispy strips. It's chicken made for dipping. Tender, juicy white meat chicken with a golden brown, peppery breading. It's chicken so good it deserves its own sauce. The creamy chili McCrispy strip dip, a sauce that's creamy, savory, and sweet with a little heat. But it works with any of our sauces. I'm personally a barbecue sauce girl. Even sometimes I like ketchup. I'm just like basic sometimes. But I also need it in addition to any new sauces I'm trying. With a new creamy chili McCrispy strip dip, it's chicken made for dipping, only at McDonald's.
Got up out the bed for some people. That's a win. Or like, I, had a really difficult conversation. That's a, like, or if it's work-wise, like, well, I did do really well on this project, or I did like have a great presentation. Use those things to kind of build your self-esteem and like big yourself up so that you can talk about it and like you can feel more confident when you're stepping into these new things. And sometimes they're just scary because they're new.
Yeah, that's what Tiara, she was saying that she feel like she lacked confidence, even though like she can have like the knowledge. It's just something like within her, and something that I was thinking of, like, one, like self-awareness. So kudos for you for like recognizing like where like you have a behavior that you need to correct, and now being able to speak about it also, I think is another type of bravery. And like you said, tracking it. So one thing I do is journal, but I also know myself as well. Like I'll write stuff down, but then I'll end up like losing the journal, or the journal be misplaced in somewhere, and I'll just like forget the journal for the day. So outside of journaling, like, how would you track your wins? Like,
yeah, I mean, I feel like, or you like a person like me that has 1,000 journals, and it's like, which one did I write it in? So most of us like carry our phones with us. You can write it in your phones. Sometimes with younger clients, but also sometimes with adults, I've had people like write it on a piece of paper and put it in a jar or like a box or something. Mm-hmm. Or I've also done it in groups where everyone in the group will write a thing about you that they've observed, like kind of giving you the flowers kind of thing.
Woo. Okay, it got to be something good though.
Yeah.
Oh boy, woo. Boy, you do a white elephant with some negative stuff in there. Oh man, that could go south.
No, it's pop. And you know, like obviously in spaces you might not know or might be as close to somebody, but it might just be like you dress really well, or like you always match, or whatever the case may be. You know, it can, but having other people in your life, maybe not people who don't know you and who don't like you, but having people in your life whose opinions you do value, speak to that, you know, and like remind you sometimes or validate you that you got this and that you are good at the things.
That's one thing. Do you guys have like any traditions that you do for Thanksgiving? That's one thing that we did this go around. I was like, you know, I want to mix it up, and so we sit down. Before we ate, we prayed and whatnot, and then we was like, you know, let's name one thing that we're grateful for, and we went around the table and named that one thing. But just having that moment to just sit down and think about, you know, all the good that you have in life and being able to like vocalize it. It's pretty powerful, I thought.
Yeah, gratitude is huge. It's very powerful because you can get really caught up in the like you were saying, like, well, I should have been further, or I don't have this, or I want, you know, it's easy to get stuck in that spiral. But sometimes it's like, well, what do I have? And like, where am I? And I can still want the things and I can still have the things, but what are the steps I now need to take to get there? Versus beating yourself up for not already being there.
Have you ever experienced that personally? Like,
of course, for sure. I'm like, even in like in my private practice, or even just in like this world of being a mental health person, I think there's a lot of, I'm always like, oh man, these like young people, and I think that's just young people in general, but I feel like young people, they have an idea and then they execute it. They go from like the start of the idea to the execution so fast. And sometimes I'll have an idea and I'll sit on it forever, and I'll see people doing it. I'll be like, damn, I thought about that 10 years ago, but I ain't do it. Like, and so I've had those moments where it's like, girl, it's like, it's you versus you. Yeah. You are the person a lot of the times in your way of like, again, having the things you want, having the life you want. And a lot of that comes from like that self-doubt of like, well, can I actually do it and have it? Like, well, this person just did it. You've done it. You might have had the same thing. So
exactly.
For sure.
In the art of conversations, and the art of like also building a culture of, talking through things. One of the last real ninja advice we was talking about was dealing with people who are avoidant of conversations. Give us some professional advice on like people who avoid conversations and people, on both ends of the spectrum.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I've also been on that boat too, personally, like where just certain things I'm like, I don't want to talk about that, because you have so much. Sometimes for people, it's like that anxiety of like, well, what's going to happen? Is this going to be bad? And what I've told myself and what I tell clients and friends and stuff is like, just because you disagree with somebody doesn't mean it has to turn into a fight or an argument. Like, we are all different people from different walks of life. So we should disagree on certain things. And so it's okay. You should, if you're in this space with somebody and you want to be in relationship with them, whatever that looks like, having difficult conversations just really challenges you to express yourself and to like give your opinion or your thoughts or your feelings about something. So what I'd like to tell people is like, well, what is your goal? What do you want to get out of the conversation? Like, is the point of the conversation, because it could be just to challenge yourself to have a difficult conversation. Because some people, that is the hard part. Is they don't care about the result. It's just like being able to say the thing is hard. And then it might be like, well, I want to have the hard conversation and I want to get this goal out of it. And so with clients, I like to let's practice it. Let's practice different ways that this can go. Obviously, you don't necessarily know what the other person might say or do in the conversation, but you can be able to like think about how you might handle it if it were to go left, or like now you're you're like uncomfortable. But also you can take a break. Like if it starts to feel like this is way too uncomfortable and I cannot continue this, you can say like, okay, I need a minute. Like, let me regroup. And then I'll come back and I'll be like ready. I need to breathe or something like that. But I think practicing it, taking your time. If you're having a conversation with somebody that, again, your goal is to continue to be in relationship with, so maybe even making that clear, like this is uncomfortable for me to have this conversation, but I these are the things that I have to say, and use I statements. Like I have to say this because I feel this way, or I'm affected by what happened because of this. And hopefully the person is receiving of the conversation. If they're not, then also you can not continue.
Yeah, that's one thing I read and I was going to ask you about is they were saying that when you're having tough conversations like that, don't like generalize and just speak from your like personal experiences instead of like bringing
everybody,
up.
all yeah. Then because a lot of times then you lose the person that you're talking to, because then it's like that's not true. And now it's like this pressure and this attack. Then it can start to feel more of like a confrontation or like an argument or something like that. And that if that's not true, I mean, like if you were like, I want to go and be confrontational and have a fight, then that's a different conversation. But if you just want to have a conversation, it doesn't have to turn into all of that. Just express yourself and take your time. And again, practice what you want to say, so that the first time, especially if you're an avoidant person, so the first time you're saying it is not to the person that you're trying to avoid. Because that would also make it difficult, especially if that person, is better at expressing themselves, then they might be able to like, find holes in what you're saying. So practice. Okay.
I had brought up bringing in like a mediator or like a third party.
Yeah.
You think it should be somebody that both people don't know, or like what are your take on that?
Go either way. I think it really depends on the situation and depends on the people. I think some people respond better to people that they don't know, and they're like, well, you're not taking either side because you don't know either of us. And some people want that more familiar, like third party who might be like, yeah, I know the both of you, and both of you are full of it.
I would say it depends on how tough the conversation is. If it's one of them conversations, I think it might be good to have somebody who don't know both of y'all, because then you don't want to put that friend in a spot where you taking sides, or like they feel like they're taking a side. And then now you got three people mad at each other, Like, golly.
Yeah, but I would also say, like, even you can, I don't really believe in like blindsiding people, but if you could also ask, like, hey, I'm uncomfortable having this conversation. I don't do well with difficult conversations. Can I bring somebody in? Would you prefer it to be somebody we know or somebody that we don't know? And maybe even giving them the choice, or giving yourself the choice to like, and if you're not comfortable either way, then don't offer that.
Yeah. Since one of the guys who hit me up, man, shout out to Tre, he has said that he was applauding me for going on this journey and being able to put myself out there like that. And he was saying that therapy these days is so taboo, and and a lot of time in the culture, it was looked at as being weak. And I was thinking, like, me personally, I think, let me hear your advice before I say what I think. Let me hear your advice.
Now I want to know what you think.
I don't think it's as taboo as it once was.
I agree. Yeah, I think there was for sure a time that it was very taboo, and like there was so much stigma and so much negativity about therapy that now I think, and I don't know if I feel like it was like when COVID hit that people kind of
that's what got me here, boy. I ain't gonna lie to you, boy. Boy, that boy had
the world. And I always am like, a lot of people didn't go into 2020 having the perfect life and and so like it brought up a lot of stuff for people. And I think it was just also like,
hey, what would make your customer service help desk way better? Dumping it and then switching to Intercom. But you're not quite ready to make that change. We get it. That's why Finn, the world's leading AI customer service agent, is now available on every help desk. Finn can instantly resolve up to 80% of your tickets, which makes your customers happier and gets you off the customer service rep hiring treadmill. Finn by Intercon, the leading customer service AI agent, now available on every help desk.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? Well, with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills. Wait, did I say job title yet? Get started today and see how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
A time people just needed something to grasp onto that felt positive and felt hopeful. And so I think now it's less, especially in the Black community. I feel like maybe not most, but more people definitely have a therapist or have been to therapy now than I would say 10 years ago.
I agree 1,000%. That's what it was right around COVID time what led me on my journey. And then, when I got here in Atlanta, trying to find a therapist was difficult because of COVID restrictions and not being able to go into an office. And, me personally, I wanted to be able to go into an office. I wanted that type of like intimate setting with therapy. But then I got to a point where like a friend of mine had passed away. And I was like, I got to go talk to somebody. So that's what kind of led me back to it in Atlanta. But I don't think it is as taboo as it once was. There's just so many different like resources out there. I found because I want to be like specific on the type of therapist I want. So I went to therapyforblackgirls.com and because I wanted a Black female therapist. And then on that website, you was able to kind of like, choose the type of therapist you want and the type of setting you want.
I think that's so important. And I don't know that a lot of people know that you can do that. And so like, even if you go to a place and there's multiple therapists, if you want somebody specific, you can say that. And like, I have a lot of clients that are like, oh, I really like that you're Black. And I'm like, you can request that. I mean, if you like, don't go find like a specific person. Like if you go to a place and they're like, Susan is your therapist and you don't want to see Susan, it's okay to say like, I don't want to see her.
Yeah, I had to find somebody, but all these Black problems I was going through, boy, I was like, nah, boy, I ain't even sit down and talk to the white lady about this stuff.
Because it's different.
It is. It brings like a sense of like, you have known like shared experiences in a lot of aspects. So that's what are some resources, I guess, for people who don't have, let's say, I guess, insurance or the means to be able to get therapy? You know of any resources they can utilize?
There's one that's called the Loveland Foundation. It's for Black women 18 and above, and they offer up to 12 therapy vouchers. So you can go to the lovelandfoundation.org and you can find a therapist that accepts it through there. I think at this point, most of the therapists that are on Therapy for Black Girls do. And so they'll like send the client the information. The client just gives it to their therapist. And so it's up to 12 sessions. So if you go to therapy every week, then it's 3 months of free therapy. If you go every other week, it's 6 months of free therapy. So that's something that a lot of my clients use. I know there's some resources for Black men also. I know the Boris Henson Foundation has some, Taraji P. Henson's foundation. They have some resources. I can send you some stuff, but
okay.
Yeah, those are the ones I can think of off the top of my head. But you could also, there's sites like BetterHelp or what's the other one? Talkspace, I think, that offer therapy for cheaper rates. Usually, like I think the cheapest you can get is maybe like $30. Mm-hmm. So there's options. And if you are a person who does have insurance, you can go through your insurance portal to search for a therapist, or you can use websites like Psychology Today or like Headway to find a therapist and maybe make an appointment that way.
Yeah, and it is that like that season. I guess it's the holiday season, and it brings a lot of stresses on people and so many facets of life. You know, those all depression goes up, all them doggone, you know, anxiety.
Dark is cold. It's the holidays. A lot, you know.
Just you got nobody booed up. Everybody like, you know what I mean? It's snowed in. You know, you get lonely at night. You're like, golly, boy, you sing all these sad songs and Christmas stories. And, you know, I was wondering, like, do you guys see a spike in like people coming in during the holidays because of like finances? It's a lot of like stressors that's around this time.
It's interesting. I feel like there's a spike and a decline all at the same time, and then it depends. So there's people who don't come as much in like December, for example, because they're traveling. It's the holidays. If they're traveling to like their parents' house, they can't talk about their parents in their parents' house. So, you know, it's like I'm with the people who caused the problems. That happens a lot. But sometimes there is a like, usually probably like the beginning of the year, there's more of an increase of like, okay, the holidays were terrible, the winter's been terrible. Now I need to talk to somebody, or like it's my resolution, or it's on my vision board to start therapy. So around this time, you might see like a few folks coming in, but usually around the beginning of the year is when people are like, I need therapy right now because everything is going bad. And
New year, new me vibes. They're like, all right, I'm about to start the year off, you know, in a good mind space. You know, cleanse all that, sage the house, get all that doggone bad energy out. Let's start the new year off right. Yep. I dig that. You have any holiday plans? Any?
Not yet. No. I have like pre-holiday plans. So my family, my family used to really do Thanksgiving really big. Like it was like our family holiday. And then a few of my cousins had gotten sick a few years back. And so then Thanksgiving stopped being what it was. And then we started celebrating Christmas, but not necessarily on Christmas. Like before Christmas, we would have some type of gathering. So I'm going to Charlotte for that. And then one of my friends here is having a holiday party. She does like a gift exchange. So
okay, that can go sideways now. that can be another one right there.
Because you know, you're like it's a favorite things party. So you bring the things you like. But everybody don't like the same kind of things. So
you ever been at a party where like you don't spend? Do y'all have a price ticket? Like, all right, you guys stick between this price point.
There's some expensive ugly things.
You're like, no, I'm taking my gift bag with me, man. Y'all, I'm not doing this.
Or like somebody is like, oh, I'm gonna spend over, or like 1 year somebody looked at it more of like a gag gift and they bought like seasonings, which would have been cool if the person who got it was a cooker, like they like to cook, but the person that got it was like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? So I'm looking forward to it, but you're right. That can go left as well. But on Christmas, I don't have plans for Christmas Day. I think I might cook my own meal and just be by myself.
Okay.
Christmas movies.
I might have to shoot you some recipes. You know what I mean? See, hook you up. Shoot you some recipes your way.
Thank you.
Well, Doc, man, it's been a pleasure. I definitely appreciate you for coming on. Hopefully we can keep this going.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
No doubt. Well, it's the Coach Uncut podcast. It's the Joy of Social Work podcast. You want to go ahead and give a shout out to all your ads and where people can find you, Doc?
So you can find me on Instagram at the Joy of Social Work. Joy is spelled with an I. And then all of the things are there. All of the links and stuff are there.
You got to be careful with this bunch, Doc. They'll slide in your DMs, man. So if y'all slide in Doc DMs, make sure y'all doing it to get some help, man. You know what I mean? I know how y'all get on these streets. So, all right, Doc. Much love. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
This is Paige DeSorbo, the co-host of Giggly Squad. I have exciting news. McDonald's has all new McCrispy strips. It's chicken made for dipping. Tender, juicy white meat chicken with a golden brown, peppery breading. It's chicken so good it deserves its own sauce. The creamy chili McCrispy strip dip, a sauce that's creamy, savory, and sweet with a little heat. But it works with any of our sauces. I'm personally a barbecue sauce girl. Even sometimes I like ketchup. I'm just like basic sometimes. But I also need it in addition to any new sauces I'm trying. With a new creamy chili McCrispy strip dip, it's chicken made for dipping, only at McDonald's.
Ever wonder what your lashes are destined for? The cards have spoken. Maybelline New York Mascara does it all. Whether you crave fully fan lashes with Lash Sensational, big, bold volume from the Colossal, a dramatic lift with Falsies Lash Lift, or natural-looking volume from Great Lash, your perfect lash future awaits. Manifest your best mascara today. Shop Maybelline New York and discover your lash destiny. Shop now at Walmart.
This podcast is brought to you by Aura. Imagine waking up to find your bank account drained, bills for loans you never took out, a warrant for your arrest, all because someone stole your identity. Hackers aren't waiting. Why are you? That's why we're thrilled to partner with Aura. Your personal data is a goldmine for hackers, and Aura helps lock it down. Aura monitors the dark web, blocks data brokers from selling your information, includes a VPN for private browsing, and a password manager to secure your accounts before criminals break in. For a limited time, Aura is offering our listeners a 14-day free trial plus a dark web scan to check if your personal information has been leaked, all for free at aura.com/safety. That's aura.com/safety to sign up and start protecting yourself and your loved ones. That's aura.com/safety. Terms apply. Check the site for details.